Hello, everyone. I'm going to make myself nice and big to start off with because why the hell not? So, welcome. It's Friday. It means, of course, one thing, which is a live stream for Wrestling Royalty. And for the kind of trend of the last couple of weeks, we're also doing a dual cast, a simulcast, whatever you want to kind of call it, with Gimme a Hell Yeah, who I think are still live, talking about a very different topic from what we'll be covering over here. We are, of course, going to be talking about the Royal Rumble 2024, which happens tomorrow night or early hours of Sunday morning, whichever one you want to kind of call it. But we are here to discuss the Royal Rumble and the Royal Rumble alone. So if that's what you want to talk about, then this is the place. I'm going to be joined by Sam. I'm going to be joined by Dan. And you know what I'm going to have to do first of all, though. And I think I just need to start off by saying, of course, thank you very much. If you are joining us here on a Friday night, it's always great to have you in. I'm going to play the world's shortest sting of 3 seconds for Gimme a Hell Yeah, because I still haven't been sent a new one and a longer one. So, yeah, here's 3 seconds. And I don't even have time to add the guys from Gimme a Hell Yeah. That's how short that is. And I promise I'm getting a new one.
Where did that come from, Dan? Sorry to jump in, Andy, but you're used
that's
to me.
That's not Dan's fault. I was sent that by Dom. That was Dom.
Dom, do you know what? I'd love to ring him up and have a go and go, rah, 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 rah. But do you know where that boy is right now? He's in a health spa in Harrogate, having massages. Yeah, he loves it. Got cucumber on his eyes. It's beautiful.
Having a colonic.
Yeah, that his beautiful significant other is with him. They're enjoying themselves, and they're like, I've had an absolute B word of a day, and he's like just completely sad. Fun fact though, after Money in the Bank, Andy, I think. Oh no, was it Money in the Bank? When the hell was it? I don't know. But there was after a certain point, we were gonna like sack off all the work we had to do and just go to the spa in the hotel where we were at, but we didn't do it in the end.
That was before Money in the Bank, right? Because that
was it after SmackDown.
Yeah. Well,
yes. It was after the press event.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm sure we had to go, but I just want to readdress that. Dan, did you just say he's basically saying that Dom is full of, you know what, to have that done?
No, some people go and actually enjoy getting one done because they feel refreshed afterwards.
I'm fairly confident that's not what he's about. I know full well because he and I have discussed it. Dom, if you're watching, sorry. But I know full well he loves his spas. That boy, like he loves massages and stuff like that. But I don't know if he'd have a tube up his bum and do all of that. I don't think that's.
I mean, I've got a photo of him and someone else, and he's laid there like that as he's getting something waxed, and he's laying face first, so you can probably imagine.
The emoji coming up there was very well timed as well.
Was that fun going, Dan? Anyway,
but yeah, we do have the faithful moderator of Gimme a Hell Yeah who's doing a fantastic job already of saying hello to all three of us, and I'm sure she'll be saying hello to you if she's around. But hello, Sassy. Fantastic.
That's not how you address me, Sassy. That's not how you address me in a hello. I know you've already said it on a Gimme a Hell stream tonight, but there's a word between hi and Sam. I'm just saying, Sassy, while you're there, if we could have that on Wrestling Royalty for the first time, that, rude not to, innit? Well, that's your lunch, that's your dinner.
There's also a running theme with when Sam's doing a stream that Sassy likes to discuss. Sam and Sassy like to discuss what Sassy has for dinner because it's always what sounds like an amazing dinner. Or lunch. So it's actually lunch. I'm sorry, a lunch, shrimp and crab chowder with a side salad, honey buttered cornbread. That sounds unbelievable, and that's from someone who doesn't even have a. Sorry, I was distracted by the chocolate selection. I'm not even a big seafood fan. But that sounds absolutely unbelievable. Snackman strikes again, and there we go. Hi, Saucy Sam, and amazingly, both myself and Dan have been given hi, Adorable Andy and Dapper Dan. I'll take that, and I'm sure Dan will as well. And we've got Norma in as well, who's saying hello to Sassy. Always good to have you in, my friend. And yeah, we are here to talk about the Royal Rumble, which is what we should be getting very excited for because in about 24 hours, we'll be not too far away. It feels weird because it's 1 a.m. in the UK start time. And let's face it, with only 4 matches on the card, we're not going to get a pre-show with a match on because we're barely on the actual card. Let me just bring in some nice flashy slides. So we are going to run down the card. I said there is only 4 matches scheduled at the moment. So unless something happens on SmackDown tonight where they add a match, which I'd be surprised at this late stage.
They can't have a pay-per-view of 4 matches. That's like even in the bite-sized pay-per-view era, that's ridiculous. I promise you now, 2 matches will be added between now and tomorrow night. 6 is the bare minimum. If they ever had less than 6, there'd be an outcry. So,
well, it also it feels weird because, like on Raw, I think Dan's in for a bit of a treat on Monday because they've announced like 4 or 5 matches already, which all sound pretty decent, to be honest. So some of them I was expecting maybe to go on the Rumble, like DIY versus Judgment Day for the titles.
Yeah, that and the Intercontinental, Like, to be fair, they always screw over the Intercontinental. Like, we know the US titles are going to be on there. That's cool. But they always screw over one of the other belts. And like, I'm not being funny. After Roman Reigns, guys, never mind Seth Rollins, never mind Logan Paul. Gunther's the man after Roman Reigns in WWE right now. Sorry, if you've got an opinion where you disagree with that, I don't care. You're wrong. I'm explaining why I'm right. And Gunther is the man. And like, if anyone's getting relegated, it shouldn't be him. But I'm old school. I like all the main belts to be on a pay-per-view. You know me. We've been through this before.
I mean, I guess before we jump into the Rumble, we did have a strange edition of Raw because I don't think it fired on all cylinders. I'm not myself sure it was the best go-home Raw before the Royal Rumble, but we did have 2 very good sections which were talking about the Royal Rumble. And I'm keen, as the Raw aficionado that is Dan, to get his opinion on this. What did you make of Raw? First of all, let's start with Seth Rollins and the news that he is injured, but has kind of made a promise that he will be defending his title at WrestleMania, or he will at least do everything he can to get to WrestleMania and defend it. What did you think of Seth and Gunther's matchup in the beginning?
I mean, I thought it was fantastic. I'll let people know there was no live stream because I was quite ill on Monday night. So I apologise for that one. But I should be back for Monday night this week, and I will be back tomorrow night for Royal Rumble itself.
You do enough, mate. You do enough.
Yeah. You can let me off to 1.
Yeah. Let me off 20.
For the Seth Rollins stuff and Gunther, it's a matchup I didn't expect I would be getting. Because the tease is they could be going for that at WrestleMania itself. And with the injury, I think with the timescale, I don't know if WWE are playing about with the timeline a little bit, because that is normally about a 2-month to 10-week injury, but WWE have said it's 3 to 4 months. So they have put the jeopardy doubt in everyone's minds, so we might not get Seth. I think they're also covering the back just in case he doesn't rehab it as quickly as needed to get to WrestleMania. But if you've got WrestleMania and you've got Seth Rollins defending a title on there or going up for a title against Gunther, it's a win. I don't care what you say. That is still a win of a match.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, and we'll get into, because I've got a specific slide for Gunther. We'll kind of cover his involvement in the Royal Rumble as well, because when we get to that section of this stream, there's not very many people who have been announced. This is very strange for WWE because we've got 4 matches rather than 5, 6, 7. And we've only got a handful of people who have declared for the Royal Rumble officially. Now, obviously, anyone can kind of enter, but it's strange that they're not giving as much information. So it does lead to speculation, as I'm sure social media is always happy to oblige and give that. It seems like they're happy for people to run riot in terms of theories, in terms of who might be involved, but they've drip-fed in certain people and certain storylines that seem to be taking precedence at the moment. We've got a couple more people who've come in. Aaron, who says, hello, everyone. Hey, everyone. We've also got Matthew Lincoln, who I believe is someone on this stream's friend. I'm trying to remember whose it is, because one of you has talked about Matthew before. Neither of you. I've got that completely wrong.
Me, not man. Does come and see me on Raw every so often. I don't know if he comes on SmackDown.
Well, it's amazing to have you in, Matthew. With Rock's daughter as GM, we will see her in the Rumble. Maybe it feels like maybe being the NXT GM, it feels like it's more to protect her from having to go in the ring at the moment and let her kind of build a character out, and then maybe they get that transition later on. But yeah, we'll see. I love the Royal Rumble because you always get shocks. But yes, we've got Gunther and Seth. We had that amazing CM Punk and Cody Rhodes going head to head in a battle of words. Again, we'll get to them a little bit later on. And we also had a little bit of a women's build as well with Becky and Nia, and then Bayley getting involved as well. So again, probably the main movers and shakers for that match all appearing on Raw, which is great to see Damage Control getting a bit more exposure across the brands. What we're going to start with, though, and I think I'm going to make a bit of an enemy of starting with this out of Sassy by the sounds of it, we have Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. Very intense looking stare there from Logan Paul. And I was very bemused to see that apparently the Superstore over for the Royal Rumble is selling Logan Paul wigs. I'm not sure what kind of person is buying that, but I have seen the picture. They are selling Logan Paul wigs ahead of the Royal Rumble. So if you want that, I'm sure you'll be able to find it on Euroshop and WWE Shop very soon. But this has been a pretty good feud, I would say, so far. They built it up over the few weeks. Sam, will go with you because this is one of SmackDown's to start with. Logan Paul, how have you rated his US Championship reign so far?
Well, before I say that, I was literally about to tweet this out, mate, because you've not done it yet. So as my role as social media dude, Andy, if you wouldn't mind tweeting this out from the Wrestling Royalty account where you have 1,000 followers, we can all retweet you. But after that, I will now happily give you my answer. Do you know what? Sassy's going to fall out with me, and she's not going to be my other wife after this. Good luck with your date tonight, Sassy. I'm rooting for you. But I've loved it. I've absolutely bloody loved it. I've just lost Sassy forever, but I love Logan Paul in this reign, and I know I'm in the minority with it. And like, look, I want to say I'm not a fan of Logan Paul before this. I've never watched his stupid podcast. I've never watched his white collar boxing matches. I give 0 Fs about what he does outside of WWE, and that's coming from a guy who works for Deserto. But I love him as a WWE superstar. I feel like he's born for it. He's made for it. He's an absolute. So I've just seen Sassy's comment. Anyway, I adore him. Good tweet, Andy. Just sitting on my watch. He's great in this role. Kevin Owens is the perfect foil for him. It's certainly not Logan's time to lose it, but Kevin's a great opponent for him. If anybody kicks the ever-loving, out of Logan, it needs to happen at WrestleMania and be a big fan pleaser. But I actually think this guy's great. I think one day he could potentially make an excellent babyface. We've seen him being a babyface before. He's way more suited to being a heel at the moment because of so many reasons. I don't think he needs a title forever, but right now, keep it on him. Like, this is helping the company. It is helping the company. It's getting a new generation of eyes on the company. Love him or hate him, Logan Paul is quite... What's the word I'm looking for here? Influential. Yeah. And there's a certain generation who, like, my little brother will watch him just because he's him, doesn't give a stuff about wrestling, but he knows his brother, who's 20 years older than him, me, loves wrestling. He might tune into it just because of this. This might be enough to turn him into a wrestling fan one day. And here's the thing. The final thing I'll say about Logan Paul is direct me to a bad promo, direct me to a bad match. I don't think he's had them yet. I see people who've been in this industry for years and years and years who are still finding their feet. And I feel like Logan Paul should have done this 20 years ago, or 15 years ago. But he's great. He's but the whole purpose of a heel is to put over a baby face. And right now, Logan Paul is one of the best heels in the business, which is great for whatever baby face eventually takes that title off him. I am all in with Logan Paul.
before I'll come across to you, Dan, to ask, I'll kind of follow that up with, what have you made of the Kevin Owens side of this? Because this has been brewing a little while. They obviously had the tournament to fill in the gap of where Logan Paul potentially wasn't available. And then they kind of went into this, like they have videos of him and they've had him on commentary, very much steering clear of having him in the ring too much, but still present in some ways. And obviously Kevin Owens has sort of, I guess, had to carry this on his own for some time before they've actually had the meeting up. What have you made of their feud in particular when they've actually had the chance to stand across the ring?
I mean, I think Kevin Owens is probably in my top 3 favourite talkers on the microphone at the minute. He can build a feud without anyone there. You could put a broom in the ring and he would make you believe that that broom is out to get him. He can. He could. He is that good at making
That's
you
so
believe.
good, it made me laugh.
Well, I gathered that, Sam. But in terms of what Kevin Owens does, he is an unbelievable mic worker. And it reminds me a little bit of John Cena calling out The Undertaker for weeks before WrestleMania. Kevin Owens was doing so much of the groundwork that even though Logan Paul might not have been there or The Undertaker might not have been there, you still sort of felt the presence of, oh, we know he's going to be annoyed at what Kevin Owens has just said.
Yeah.
So Kevin Owens, as the babyface in this match, can still easily lose it and still come out a bigger star than before he went in, because people will know who Kevin Owens is after this. If you are a very, very casual fan or you're a Logan Paul fan, you'll have probably never seen Kevin Owens or very limited exposure to him. So Logan Paul is, I don't want to sound like I'm hyping him up because Sassy loves me, but it's
She loves me more.
Logan Paul is shining a light onto Kevin Owens. And for the people that don't know, it's going to be a massive increase in viewership from all angles, I think, because Kevin Owens in the ring himself will absolutely smash it. He will put on a good match. We know Logan Paul can actually be fantastic in the ring. We saw it against Roman Reigns. We saw it last year at the Royal Rumble with Ricochet. He does not mind putting his body on the line.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah. I'm still a bit perplexed whether the whole like black eye thing was makeup or he legitimately did, because I thought he caught him on the other side of his face, but they did a good job of selling it. And I actually really enjoyed the promo that they did last week. I thought that was the best. I know you said he's not had a bad promo, but I thought that was his best promo so far, Logan Paul. And to go sort of head to head with such a good talker like Kevin Owens, that was pretty impressive, because I think there's some people who would kind of flounder under the pressure of Kevin Owens, and he had like a bit of a stinging barb in there saying, I'm not even allowed to talk about some of the stuff that I'd love to talk about, which could have kind of made the ground open to swallow him. But I thought he did well in that. I feel probably in line with you guys. I'm not his biggest fan, like by any means, but I think he's done very well to show respect and, you know, take on board probably a lot of criticism, a lot of feedback, and a lot of pointers. And he's in the ring is very, very good. So I think this will be a great match, a good clash of different styles. I'm expecting it to go fairly long, I'd imagine, because there's not many, as you said, not many matches, so they've got plenty of time, I would imagine, to put on whatever they want to do, really. What do you, prediction wise, we are going to kind of talk about the predictions thing at the end, Dan. I'll give you your moment to kind of pronounce everything. But between us, prediction wise, what are we thinking here? Is Kevin Owens actually got a shot of taking the belt, or was the fact that Logan Paul was announced for Elimination Chamber in Australia, is that make it a done deal already?
Yeah. I don't think you don't need to think about it. If you're going to have someone with a title and someone sort of worldwide with their eyes on him as Logan Paul is, you want to have him on the biggest show of the year. So having him at Elimination Chamber is a good start, but having him at WrestleMania, you'll look at the clicks that he draws. it's all money in WWE's eyes. It's all viewers onto the program. It's all expanding your viewership to people who might watch Logan Paul because of the YouTube stuff. They might watch it because of the boxing stuff, but it is all circulated around generating viewership, and that's what Logan Paul does. So you keep the title on him. You don't take it off him at the Royal Rumble.
Sam, about yourself, who's currently necking straight behind. This is what happens when he gets into it with Sassy. He takes it very personally. He's just down him.
Oh no, it's just I'm out of mixers. What am I going to do? Not drink? Mate, I'm British and a journalist. Yeah. Oh my god, that's so good. It's not brown rum though. I love brown rum. You know, like Captain Morgan's or Kraken. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely,
Fabulous. But yeah, I agree with Dan. Logan's retaining because that's where the fun is. Like KO is way better when he's chasing. And it's like you said, the thing in Australia is like a walking spoiler. But at the same time, you'd be stupid to take it off Logan Paul right now. It's got so many eyes on the product. There's so many fun matches. The fun here is, and I'm telling Sassy more than the audience here, the fun here is we're waiting to see Logan Paul get absolutely battered. That's the fun here, because that's the fun with wrestling. That's what heels exist for. Yeah, I agree, Sassy. I already had some of that tonight, but I'm mixing like a champ. But the fun, we want to see Logan Paul get built up and built up and built up so somebody destroys him. And having Kevin Owens here as the guy who could destroy him, but probably ain't gonna, because Logan Paul is gonna worm his way out of this. That's the fun. So come WrestleMania, I think Gunther retains at Mania. I think Rollins retains at Mania because I think he's going to be there. I think Logan and Roman are the ones to lose. I do feel like that's where it's going. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Dan, we were sat together in the stadium in LA and we were both wrong. Only Anthony was right. And my God, did he let us know?
Talk about milking the win.
Jesus, I was like, can we get a different hotel room? Can we put this guy somewhere else? But yeah. Logan has to retain. It's the best thing for the business. It's the best thing for the storyline. KO knows that, and whoever ends up battering Logan and taking it off him at Mania or wherever else.
LA Knight.
Oh yeah. See, that's a great shout.
I was like a really sensual way of saying his name. I just wish you'd said yeah in the same tone as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was sexual.
We do have a couple of comments in about this. Normar says Logan, like so many before him, got into WWE because of his name. But you've got to admit he's put in the work and turned into a really good in-ring performer. And he made the buckshot lariat a better. I mean, I'm not a huge I don't follow week on week, but I do like to keep up to date. And I know there's someone very good at the buckshot lariat in AEW. But from what I've seen, Logan Paul is absolutely fantastic. It's so clean.
He's better.
Sorry, you said it, not me. I'll leave
I
it as
did.
that. There's some love in here for Miz if you've not been carrying along too. I think there might be a little bit of jive in there.
Come at me, Nayland.
Sassy. KO deserves every penny they're paying him. Great moves for a big man. Incredible on the mic. I don't see any reason for KO to hold the belt. Yeah, that's true. I think he's one of those stars that don't really have to have a belt to still be a draw. I think his star is big enough. It always seems popular. Like, it doesn't matter what he's doing or like where he is on the card. People will always want to see Kevin Owens. Like, listen to the reception he gets when he comes out. So, huge props to KO. And Normar says on the last one there, let Logan hold it and build it for a while. Sassy's more of a bourbon fan. I'm in full agreement there. Maker's Mark. I'm a Maker's Mark fan.
Oh yeah.
Bullets for me as well. Or a bit of Buffalo Trace. Not sponsored by any of that, by the way, on the channel. But if they're watching this, feel free. I'd love a sponsorship. I want Mox to come back for one night to beat the. I'll let you fill in what you think Sassy meant with that word there out of him, because it could be a few different expletives. But yes, we think I think Logan Paul is going to go over on this one, heading into Elimination Chamber. Now, the only other match that we have that's not a Royal Rumble match is a Fatal 4-Way with possibly the 4 biggest stars on SmackDown, which seems slightly odd. I'll go into that more on the Royal Rumble. I've got some thoughts on that one myself. But here we do have LA Knight, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and the champion himself, Roman Reigns, who is gracing us with his presence at the Royal Rumble, and is going to defend it. And we will probably hear it a few times. The odds are stacked against him, which technically they're not. Everyone has a 1 in 4 chance, but who are we to say anyway? But yeah, this is a big match. A lot of big names. So Sam, we'll start with yourself. What do you reckon is going down here? Is this the time that we're finally going to see Roman Reigns fall, or is this just one more easy run-of-the-mill defense for him?
I thought it would be either of those things. Here's the thing. With it being a fatal 4-way, it's no disqualification, which means he can have his cronies come in and help him. That's where we're going here. The story they're telling is AJ, Randy, and LA Knight have all been wronged by Roman in the past. So they're so fixated on revenge and winning that belt that they aren't going to be able to see the bigger picture. And that will be their fault. Like Nick Aldis has done this to screw over Roman Reigns, quite rightly. It's a great storytelling. And correct me if I'm wrong, Andy and Dan, you'll know better than I. Where's Misfit when I need him? Roman Reigns hasn't defended this in a fatal 4-way. Am I right? In his entire reign.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's been 3 ways, like Daniel Bryan and Edge. This is really, really clever because the Roman Reigns singles match is getting a bit old now. Now, me and Anne argued about this in Mania. And was like, oh, it's the same bloody match every time. And I was like, yeah, but that's okay. It's okay to be more of the same if you like it, if it's good. But even me, a guy who will defend WWE to the hilt, is now like, okay, it's getting old. But I love Roman Reigns. I love his reign. I'm of the belief that this reign cannot be ended anywhere else other than WrestleMania out of respect for Roman and what he's achieved. And I mean that within kayfabe. I just mean he, as a man, is owed that. So now Randy, LA Knight, and AJ are all fantastic, but none of them are the guy to take it off him. What this is about is taking out 3 of WWE's big hitters in one fell swoop. So somebody like Cody Rhodes can come in there and do it. If indeed that is still the plan, as things have gone a little bit up in the air this week. But I don't think that changes anything. But these 3 guys, I think it's going to be a great match. It's going to be really, really fun. It's a little bit like WWE of 2017, where we saw a lot of multi-man matches, people battering each other. It was really, really fun. It was like we had the 4 Monsters feud. Anyone remember that? It was really before the dark days of 2018 and beyond. It was great stuff. But the whole point here is Roman puts these 3 behind him. Then he crows and crows and crows, and then something happens with The Rock. That's what I think. And then ultimately it's Cody Rhodes who takes it off in finishing the story, blah, blah, blah. That's my prediction. But I think Roman retains at the Royal Rumble. The idea being he's won a fatal 4-way. He's unstoppable. That's the idea. But he cheats to win because he takes advantage of there being no disqualification to get his cronies involved. However, I do think this might be the last time he has this version of the bloodline. So I think something goes down here where he either kicks out Jimmy or Jimmy leaves of his own accord. Because that's the story. That's the wider story they're telling. Or Solo Sikoa, the cracks start to appear. This is all storytelling, but Roman retains.
Yeah. So rewind 1 year to the Royal Rumble in 2023. And it was Roman Reigns, not the Royal Rumble match itself that closed the show.
So
Dan, do you see this happening this year? Are we going to see the title match go on last, or are we going to see a Rumble match? Because there's a couple of connotations as to, I guess, who or what might happen at the end of this match if it were to go on last. What are your thoughts on card placement? Do you think it will go on last? Do you think it goes on first or somewhere else?
I honestly think this match has to go on before the men's Royal Rumble. I think you open with the women's Rumble. I think you have the US title, then you have this one, and then you have the men's Rumble. There may be a women's match in the middle. I don't know, depending on what happens on SmackDown tonight. But for me, you have this match. So essentially, you know who's going into Mania with the championship, Roman. And then you see who wins the Rumble. And then you have the idea of, oh, it could be that person, Cody winning the Rumble. Oh, he's going up for Roman. CM Punk wins the Rumble. Is he going to go for Seth? Is he going to go for Roman? And you've always got that idea. And I think having the title match on after the Rumble diminishes the winner of the Rumble a little bit for me.
Right.
If you have a huge stipulation, i.e. Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell, and you don't have it close the show, it's the headline, it's the thing that you put on the top of the box. You'll put Royal Rumble, that's the main event. You don't put Royal Rumble and have a Fatal 4-Way as the main event. You don't have a Hell in a Cell stipulation, headline, premium live event, and then put a tag match on the main event match. That to me is a complete backwards notion. So if you are calling the show Royal Rumble, that is what you should have as the final match of the show.
I would normally agree, but I will counter that literally last year that wasn't the case because we did have that big, moment with Sami Zayn, and that was what kind of closed out, was that he finally broke free of the shackles of the bloodline. And we did have a question earlier on. I'll just nip back and try and find it, which was from Matthew, who did mention the bloodline, who will lose their team first, Judgment Day or Bloodline. I think Sam might have answered that a little bit in his coherent rambling answer, where he kind of said Bloodline as we know it could kind of fall apart a little bit. But yes, I think it's an interesting one, because to me, if this match was to go on last, there's an expectation that something is going to happen after it, which would probably have to include someone like The Rock. I don't see this going on last and there being a showdown. I think that would diminish from a Raw, from whoever wins that, and then can kind of like lay claim to whatever they want. We're going to cover the Royal Rumble matches up next. But certainly for this one, I think it has to open the show. I think you go big on this one, or you sandwich it and you have the women's Royal Rumble go on first. I think the men's has more story to it, so I think that should go on last. But if you want to get a hot start, I would put this one on absolutely flying out the gates. Then the women's match, then the US title match, then the Royal Rumble, because I've spoken to Triple H before, and he's very much a case of like, he knows how he wants the ebbs and flows of his show to go, in terms of like, you want a big start and then you want to kind of like pull it back a little bit. And the Royal Rumble is so long that you'd have that lull at the beginning, and then you'd build that up, and then you drop it back down, and you have a couple of those weird peacock promo things that they do, and then you go into the US title match and so on, and then you finish on a massive high of whoever wins the Royal Rumble, pointing to the side, and that's how you go off there. But we also could get another match or two added tonight on SmackDown, so that remains to be seen. But if it is 4, that's how I would do it personally. So we're all in agreement then, I'm guessing Roman Reigns is retaining here.
Yeah.
100%.
And it seems like Normar's in agreement as well. He sees an unconscious referee come into play in the Fatal 4-Way, probably via Solo's thumb. That damn thumb. And Dan had said 3 separate triple threat matches. I wonder if anyone off the top of their head can name who was involved in all those 3 triple threat matches. I know Sam gave you one, which is the Daniel Bryan and Edge one. Can you name the other triple threat matches in the comments? Let me know. It'd be interesting to see who can get that first. Another further prediction: Knight gets the count out on Roman, but ref knocked out. I think they'll do that spot. I think someone will be covering, and it will be kind of like, I think personally Randy Orton, because he seems to be the one that's hottest at the moment in terms of getting the crowd going. Unfortunately, I could see AJ or LA being the one who actually takes the pin, and that's why they're involved. another theory of mine is the reason why they're doing this particular match is because it limits the massive stars and the sort of maybe disappointment of what do they do in the Royal Rumble? How do you eliminate them? Do you get spots elsewhere? Because let's face it, if Randy Orton or LA Knight was proven very popular with the fans, they're going to be very disappointed when they get a poor showing in the Royal Rumble, because if they're not planned to win it, what's the point in having them in it if you can put them somewhere else? So there's always that as well. So the Royal Rumble matches, which looks like it's sponsored by Cricket 5G and Suicide Squad as well, which I'm sure you can read some stuff over on Deserto with Sam about Suicide Squad. I'm sure someone is going to be covering it over on that.
It ain't me, but there's a very, very talented team are picking up that game, I must say.
There you go. And of course, in the UK, for now, you can watch the Royal Rumble on the WWE Network. But as of January 2025, you're going to have to watch it on Netflix, which we did cover a couple of days ago when that news broke, that Raw and the rest of the shows internationally, at least, are all going on Netflix. So if you subscribe to both, you're going to be saving yourself $10 a month. So that's some good news there. But yeah, from next year, WWE is moving to Netflix. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. And if you want to know a little bit more, go check that video out, which you can catch on both Gimme Huya and Wrestling Royalty.
Can I just hijack the stream, Andy, for a moment? I know it's your show, mate, but you bring me on, and I always do this. Dan's been dealing with this for a year or two now. But what do you think about that? Because I'm really, really sad to see the WWE Network go, because it's just been my bane for years. But I'm glad they're not peacocking this crap, and I'm kind of glad that the pay-per-views, the premium live events, if you're watching PRs, and the TV are in one place. That to me is massive, really important. So I'm for it because of that, but I'm so sad to see the network go. I'd love to know what you two guys think about that.
Dan, I'll let you go first, mate, if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I go onto the network every so often, and I'll put Broken Skull sessions on. I'll put 24/7 on. I'll put a day in the life of whatever on. And there's so many good things on there that I could probably.
What's going on here? Oh God, Undertaker! I think you're about to be. Dan. I think you're about bloody hell. You're both in Hull. I think you're both about to be attacked by the House of Black, mate.
I'm just going to remove myself for a second. I'll be back.
Has anybody got the rude music? Dun, 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 dun. Well,
don't worry, by the way, guys. We can see that Dan is actually still okay. He's just turned his camera off for now. He hasn't started flashing and just disappeared. But
that's so funny.
He is fine. See him. He's just leaving shot right now. So I'm sure Dan will come back, but he's got to fix his lighting issues.
Worst comes to worst, I'll ring his missus and find out if he's all right.
He's fine. I'll add to that. I'm sad to see, a very specific WWE network and platform go, but Netflix wasn't the worst option for it to go to, and as long as it's like an established platform, then great. But what I will say is Netflix. I don't know if you guys have Disney Plus as well. Disney Plus is very user friendly in terms of, if you want to watch a Star Wars film, you just click on Star Wars. If you want to watch a Marvel film, you click on Marvel, and so on and so forth. Netflix doesn't have that set up at the moment. So I wonder if they'll have to change, because I would hazard a guess, outside of Disney, WWE offers the biggest back catalogue that anyone could have offered in one go. So that much going on to a platform, I would have thought they'll have to play with the user interface a little bit to separate
100%.
it.
Yeah, 100%.
Otherwise, it's going to get a bit jumbled up. So that's my one reservation, is I want to see what Netflix is going to do on that side of things, because let's face it, you don't want just like one little like sort of strip going like, hey, you watch WWE, because within that, how do I find the Royal Rumble? How do I find past WrestleManias? How do I watch a Broken Skull session without having to properly search for it? You need to make it like as snappy as possible. So yes, I do want to see the UI and UX or whatever you want to kind of call it. I want to see that sorted. But yeah, we got a couple of people who have jumped in. The viewing, how many hours is the Rumble? It's actually 1 a.m. UK time. I don't know where you are, mate. But if you're in the UK, it's 1 a.m. on Sunday morning. So as Dan said, it's about, what's that, 27 hours?
27 hours, yeah.
Yeah, about 27 hours away.
I think it means how long is it, mate? How long is it going to be? Like probably what, 3-4 hours in terms of.
No, in how many hours is the Rumble?
Oh, in how many hours? Well, I'm an idiot.
Yes. Read.
Early hours, if you're in the UK, early hours of Sunday morning. If you're in the US, I believe it's probably 8 p.m. and they'll probably have a pre-show around 7 p.m. Eastern time. So wherever you are, I hope you managed to find it. And as you said, you can see right there, 8 Eastern. I should have just read that out. I don't know why I didn't do that. Well, 5 p.m.
Also, Sassy has said, it's like 20 quid. Yeah, there you go. I hate it. Netflix almost $20 amount of the ads. So I think the UK people, well, those of us in the UK, I feel like we're getting a better deal than those of us stateside, because in the UK, for us, all we really do is cancel our WWE network. And if we've already got Netflix, happy days.
I think Netflix, is it not only like a $5 or with adverts?
Well, with
$7.99
I think the premium, like the top Netflix in the UK is about 13 quid or something like that. But even that is less than $20.
HD
round
and stuff, isn't it? Yeah,
round about the same. But yeah, I feel like if you're in the US and you have everything on Peacock, to then spend $20 to then watch just Raw on Netflix, yeah, man, you might be getting a little bit screwed over. But to those of us in the UK, you've got to understand that we've been screwed over for years and years and years. We've had to either have Sky TV, which half of us have, or we've had to have BT Sport, which has been a nightmare because nobody has it apart from like obsessive sports fans. So, and like, let's be honest, if you're a WWE fan in the UK, like, yeah, you might follow football like Andy and Dan. I know you two love your footy. I know I hate it. But someone like me has to either pay for a sports channel he's never going to watch unless it's UFC, or borrow his father-in-law's, which is exactly what I do. So the fact that everything's coming to Netflix, including the PLEs, I'm really, really pleased about that, because I hate ads in Raw and SmackDown. It drives me mad. But the idea of having everything in one place is awesome. And I don't know about you boys.
So if you've both got Netflix Premium, do you think there would be a way for Netflix to either change the subscription price to include it, or would you think it could be an add-on instead? Because I think that's what I'm expecting. Are the prices to go up to at least £20 to £25, or do you reckon it could be a add-on?
I think
like
it'll be an add-on, because if they try and raise the price just for wrestling, I think there'd be way too much.
It'll be like Peacock, boys. It'll be whatever. Basically, if you've got Netflix right now, WWE is just added to it. Now, depending on your subscription, if you've got the ad-free Netflix, then you've got ad-free WWE. Congratulations. If you don't have the ad-free Netflix, then you have WWE plus ads. I don't think anything is going to change. They're not going to like make you pay extra just to have wrestling. It'll be like with Peacock. If you have Peacock and WWE, it comes to it, then you have Peacock with WWE. It's going to be like that. Like, they're not going to make you pay extra. Because here's the thing: in terms of Netflix, WWE isn't that important. It's just content on their channel.
Vampire Diaries fans aren't going to want to pay an extra £3 to watch Seth Rollins versus are they? So I think that's where the problem's going to be. So I think if they were going to change any kind of price, it would be an add-on. But I still don't think they'll do that. I think they're just banking on here the network shuts and they gain X amount of subscribers, and that's how they're kind of like financing it, is to go, yes, we're going to pay $5 billion over the course of 5 years, but we estimate that we are going to get 3 million UK subscribers that will instantly move across to Netflix if they don't already have it, or solidify it, etc., etc. So I think that's the way it's going. But if you want to check out a bit more of the Netflix and statements that we've read, please check out that video. We do have a few that we've got to get through here. Miplet1, which is a fantastic username.
It's great. It's
and
Michael.
Sam, Andy, it's Michael Pagnota. I hope I said your last name properly there. He started his own channel, so good luck with your channel. Please go find Miplet, and I'm sure he's a stand-up guy because he's joining us, so he must be.
It's Michael Pagoda, mate. He's give me a whole year royalty.
Wait, is Michael the guy who has Jeffrey the giraffe from Toys R Us in his picture? Or is that a different Michael?
Oh, it might be a different Michael, but
Different
Michael
Michael,
Michael Pagoda is Sassy's Mox buddy. He is in terms of give me a whole year, mate. It goes the hosts, Sassy, Michael in that order. And Jack.
Sassy, Reigns versus Edge versus Bryan. There is one. We're looking for the other triple threats that we've got as well that Roman Reigns has had. If you can name any other ones, let me know. Sam's going to subscribe to you, Michael. So there's at least another subscriber added for you. Normal, I've had Netflix for years, so no big deal, but I would not be strong-armed subscribing just to watch WWE, probably the future of a lot of sports. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Amazon Prime and Apple and Disney and whoever get involved in the future. Already some American football is streaming exclusive on Prime. We get the Premier League is on Prime as well, some of them. I think there was planned. Is it Apple TV's got the MLS as well? So it's not the first of its kind, but it definitely seems to be the way people are moving. And I'm sure at some point the Premier League will probably move in the direction of its own platform at some point or join something. I really hope this is the real Nia Jax, but I have a feeling it's someone who is a very big fan of Nia Jax. And if you're asking my opinion, if it was the real Nia Jax, I hope you do win because you're a lovely person and you're more than welcome to come on WrestleSphere and Wrestling Royalty and give me a hug, yeah, if you are. But you ask, what do you think of Nia Jax in the Royal Rumble? I'm in Australia and I've seen the Rumble. I know who wins in every match, but not spoiling it. Well, you've got some inside information there, Nia, which I'm sure you should know at this point. I don't think Nia Jax is winning, but we're going to cover that match right now. We will talk about Nia Jax and her chances. We talked about the stories, myself and Dan, last week going into the Royal Rumble, and hers has been a story that has featured quite heavily. We've got a couple of other people who have joined. JPW says hi to you as well. Geez, I'm not. There's loads. Yes, it is me with Jeffrey. I knew it was. I was right. I love saying that. Rishab, which I believe is one of Sam's colleagues as well, from Dexerto, I think. Hello to you. Deanna says regular TV is dying. This is a good point. Yes. I think you're right there, and thank God we don't have to put up with all these discussions about ratings wars and stuff, because really, who gives a shit? Deanna said hi.
Do you swear on your own channel and ours?
Mate, we're 48 minutes in.
No, I love it, Andy. I love it.
We're going to talk about the Women's Rumble because we are 48 minutes in and we've got two more matches. Yeah. I don't know how we managed to stretch a 4-card match out to 48 minutes already without discussing two of them.
I hope you stretch this out to 1 a.m. That's my hope.
You do, but me and Dan certainly don't. Becky Lynch.
I'm away tomorrow.
We've got the Women's Royal Rumble, and because there wasn't actually any kind of nice cards that WWE have provided for any of the Royal Rumble matches, I don't have a nice flashy one to put up, so they've given us these nice individual shots of some people. I've had to mock up one for Bayley because they didn't give me one. But first, Becky Lynch. Let's discuss Becky Lynch's chances going into the Women's Royal Rumble. Do we see Becky being a 2-time winner, or is her fate destined elsewhere? Dan, you're shaking your head. We'll start with you.
I think it's going to be she falls at near enough the final hurdles, probably down to the last 2 or 3, and I think it will be Becky and someone else that we're going to discuss in a minute in the final 2, and there's very good reasons for both of them to be in the final 2. But I think Becky's already won it; she doesn't need that accolade adding on to her list of accomplishments already. So I think having her in that position is going to be great, but winning, I just don't see the benefit of her winning, in all honesty.
Yes, I would agree. I think you can write that elsewhere in terms of like the storyline between her and Rhea. It doesn't need her to be a Royal Rumble winner. That can kind of go elsewhere. Is that your thoughts as well, Sam, or do you think Becky's got a legitimate chance of winning this one?
I'm just admiring Rishab's fabulous comment that he just said. And Sassy, have a lovely night. We'll miss you on SmackDown, but you've got a great night planned, and I really hope you have a good time. But yeah, anyway. So look, for me, two things are happening here. Either Sassy out, love that. Either Lynch is winning the Rumble. What do you mean, Sam? Shut up, Dan. Sorry, Andy. I'll give you a proper answer. Look, I either think Becky's winning the Rumble and smashing everybody, or Bayley's winning the Rumble. This to me, what's really, really good about the storytelling here is it's played like they're really doing a good job of tying in the stories together. Whoever wins Elimination Chamber or Royal Rumble, these things are now kind of swerving into one. And so either Lynch is winning the Rumble, and that'll be awesome, or Bayley is winning the Rumble, and that'll be awesome. And the other one of them is probably, oh, hello, Bianca. And either the other one is winning the Elimination Chamber. But I'm feeling the storyline, boys. So I don't really mind because, again, I've had way too much to drink to accurately fantasy book it for you all, as I usually do. But whoever wins either one, I'm actually happy with, because in all of my fantasy booking scenarios, and this is me, so one of them is going to be right. It's good storytelling. It's screw it. So either Lynch wins the you see, you're going to be here to 1 a.m. boys. So either Lynch wins the Rumble or goes on to Elimination Chamber, and Becky Lynch, the man, fights her way through Elimination Chamber because Bayley won and comes out stronger than ever. That's awesome. Or, however, Bayley, no matter what Bayley does, like Bayley and Lynch, it's tied together. If Bayley wins the Rumble, Damage Control turn on her. Or if Bayley loses the Rumble, they can do something where she's done something to annoy Damage Control and they turn on her. Either way, it's great storytelling, but like it or not, love it or hate it, this is Bayley versus Io at Mania, and it's Lynch versus Rhea at Mania. That is where we are right now. That could change, but it's unlikely. And whatever route WWE used to take us there, I'm for it. I'm all about it, and I'm really excited to see what they do. And I'm fairly confident I know what the Mania card is going to be. But what I love is I don't strictly know how they're going to get there, but I don't care because it's amazing. And oh my God, ZJI's in the comments. Love to see, amazing to see you again, ZJI. I hope you join me for SmackDown in 2 hours.
Yep, that was sprawling. Anyway, we do. I'm really sorry because I don't know why Bayley wasn't given a nice shiny one like these are. I had to make one, which was it. I didn't know how to make it.
Mate. She's Bayley
anyway. Deanna is going for Bayley. She says Bayley's my choice in the women's, or Bianca, which is great because I've got slides for both of them. But yes, Dan, we'll come to you before we go on to the men's. Any of these going to be the winner? Who's your set? I know we talked about it on the stories stream last week. You seemed quite set, I think, if I remember rightly, on Bayley being the winner, which would tell the better story. Are you still going with that 1 day removed?
100%. The way, I mean, I know Sam's had a few drinks, so I'll do fantasy booking for him. You had on Monday Night Raw, you had Becky saying to Rhea, I need to beat you. So if you put her in the Rumble and she doesn't win, she's got that storyline to go into the Elimination Chamber to then drive and win the Elimination Chamber to then get to face Rhea at Mania. She's got that underdog sort of story arc from now until WrestleMania very easily. and it's such an easy story to tell. You'll have her get eliminated from the Rumble as number 29, last person out, or a little bit earlier in the match, and you'll have her sat on the ramp, absolutely devastated, a la Shawn Michaels when he was going up wanting to win the Royal Rumble to face The Undertaker as champion. You'll play that same exact story pretty much perfectly, and you're going to have a huge pop for Becky coming out. Bayley wins the Rumble. Bayley then says that she's on SmackDown, and it's been so long that she's held that SmackDown Women's Championship, she wants to respectfully challenge Io Sky for that title. Io takes it as a sign of disrespect, kicks her out of Damage Control, and then you have Dakota Kai as the new mouthpiece of the Kabuki Warrior faction, so to speak.
Wait, the Kabuki Sky Pirates.
That's the one. I couldn't remember which one it was.
Right.
So you'll have Dakota Kai as that mouthpiece, and then at Mania you'll have Bayley win. Dakota Kai is then back from her rehab. She is the first challenger for Bayley's new title.
Interesting.
That's how I'd be going. That's what, in my mind, I've fantasy booked the hell out of it, and I love it. I absolutely love the idea of that.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with something similar. I think Becky will go quite far, but I don't think she's going to be the one to win. I think she'll have a very strong showing. And as Deanna said, I think she's a great underdog story because that's where she's kind of been fighting from for quite a while now. Like, you know, the rise of the man, etc. And I feel like there's every opportunity to do that. And also, there's an interesting story to be told with Becky where she might be an underdog, but she's also kind of being posted as almost the older dog against Rhea, where she's got to prove that she can still hang with this sort of the new big bad in Rhea, and whether she can kind of like, and that's what to me the story they're telling is quite captivating. Doesn't need the Royal Rumble in that. Becky can just outright challenge her on the way to WrestleMania. She might have to vanquish Nia Jax because Nia's got a win over her, and she's got to kind of prove that she can beat Nia outright in that as well. So there's a couple of stories that they can kind of tie in with Becky. But for Bayley, I think they might kind of do an angle where she does win, and then she delays making a decision to kind of pick Rhea, what she said she would do, which breeds a little bit of kind of, puts Io on a bit of edge, and they get basically snap, and that's how she kind of goes against it because they think that she's going to be the one who turns, and they just jump her eventually. I think that might be the way they go. But yeah, plenty of opportunities. We do have Bianca was one of two women on the media toolkit that WWE sent out that had their own slide, which I was a bit surprised at. Bianca Belair being a two-time winner. Do you see that happening? Because there isn't a tantalising matchup to be had between Rhea and Bianca potentially. Is there any chance Bianca walks away with a win here?
No. I think Bianca at Mania, if it happens, the match that I would want to see would be Jade Cargill.
Oh, yeah. What Dan said.
Yeah. Sam's just turned into a little bit of a...
I'll back it up. Like I'm... Again, here's the thing. The thing about me with a few drinks in me is I'm just as smart as me without a few drinks in me. Not very. Look, I think Bayley versus Io is a really good story, and I genuinely believe Bayley versus who's the other one? Rhea is a really good story. But Bianca, I don't really want to see Bianca involved in the title picture this Mania. Dan will attest. Andy, I know you're in the building too, but we were sat separately. Dan will attest to how I was nerd raging over Bianca winning. I was the only person in that bloody stadium who didn't want her to win because I wanted Asuka to win. Because, do you know what I mean? Yeah, Dan, you'll remember, mate. I was raging, and we were already absolutely drunk as skunks because Anthony had bought all that 10% bloody beer and made us drink it all because he couldn't bring it into the stadium. So we all waddled in there. trying to maintain. But anyway, but let's not deny Bianca's a huge star and so important to the future of WWE. She needs to have a good. Thank you, Rishab, for the 100 rupees, mate. That's lovely. Thank you so much. But at the same time, yeah, Bianca needs to do something, and Jade Cargill is perfect, mate. Because let's be honest, like Cargill and Bianca, two powerhouses of the women's division. How good would a match between them two be? Yeah, Bianca's going to lead it because she's the better worker, but that's a WrestleMania match. Bring it on. I would love that. And I'm just disappointed, Dan, that you and I aren't going to be in the building this year, where Sporzy above us is probably going to be. And I'm a little bit annoyed by that. But Minneapolis, Andy, I might be with you.
Well, I can confirm that I will be in Philadelphia for WrestleMania and the associated events, but I'm not going to Raw, even though this year they might actually make an effort to do something.
I love that show. I did. Like, Dan, what did you... Sorry, Andy. Dan, what did you think of that? Because I know, like, Dom and Am came out of that show like, well, that was BS. I was like, I just saw Brock Lesnar beat up Cody Rhodes. That was pretty cool. Am I the only one who kind of came out of that enjoying it?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Right.
We'll move on.
Was probably it was from start to finish the most ridiculous Raw I've watched, and that includes Thunderdome and Performance Center.
Oh, flipping heck. Like, I'm not being funny, Dan. Like, I've been to a few SmackDowns now in my time, but that's the only Raw I've ever been to. Would you believe? So
yes,
I
kind of got tinted glasses.
Yes, you're biased.
No, I'm not biased at all. I'm a bloody journalist. I don't know what bias is. All I know is I was there with a group of my lovely friends who I adore. I had a few beers in me, a few nachos. I had a really good night. I was flipping exhausted. I couldn't wait to go home and sleep next to a hot woman. But not being funny, Dan, you are wonderful to sleep next to, mate. Honestly, you really are.
I know.
I'm going to change the subject. We also have Jack, who was in LA with us as well.
Hey, Jack.
Becky for the women's and Punk for the men's. Roman and Logan Paul to win the other matches. We're going to get into the men's Rumble imminently, but Norma's going to say, let Jade and Bianca team up for some eliminations, and Jade turns on Bianca and throws her out. Instant heat between the two. Yes, I agree. I think that'd be a perfect way to give Jade a bit of spotlight, because she doesn't have to get too involved in terms of wrestling, because I know they're still kind of giving her some pointers, and she's working with Natty and TJ to kind of build that experience up a little bit more. So when they do pull the trigger on that, then it'll be absolutely amazing. He's also suggested or asked or recommended, whatever you want to say. How can you call Aunt Lovely?
Just look at it. What's there not to like? I mean, Dan, I'm not being funny, mate. I've said to my wife numerous times, do you know how better in bed Dan is than you? In terms of just sleeping.
Why are you intent on changing the subject back on?
I'm not. I'm just saying, Dan rolls over and goes to sleep and does not move, does not snore, does not do anything. I promise you, Dan in bed is the best I've ever had.
Well, on that note, we're going to go on to 30-man Royal Rumble match, which we only have a handful of people. I'm going to ask you about this, because the women's has even less than the men's. This is the first year in a long time where they haven't announced pretty much the full field, and that's not to say that they can't do that in the next couple. And Rishab was asking where Tom and Nick Mysterio are in the picture, and probably R-Truth as well. I think they're one of the anonymous ones at the back, to be honest, because we haven't been fully introduced to them yet. But this is the field, other than Kofi, who I think has also announced officially that he's in it. This is all that we know so far. So either expect SmackDown to have a few announcements on, or social media to go crazy. But there's a lot of people who normally talk about it, being very disappointed with the Royal Rumble and the fact that they announced everyone, because back in the day, the anticipation of the match was everything, and you get these surprises and you wouldn't know what the field is. and it leads to a lot of speculation. It feels like this year they're steering into that and letting everyone make up their own minds who's going to be involved. Are you a fan of that? Because I can see Deanna likes that they haven't been announced. As Dan says, 11 announced for the men's and 6 for women so far. We also we've got another guest, and we've just been talking about him. How can we call him Lovely? But we've got Anthony kicking around as well.
Yeah.
Let's bring him in. Let's unhide him.
Oh, hi. I just made a really
How's it
good
going,
noise.
Hello. Sorry, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, no way.
That stream does sound like hard work.
Ant's been doing another stream for Give Me a Hole, yeah, which you can watch immediately as soon as this finishes. You can go watch the whole thing again because it makes for very interesting viewing. It's a very hot topic that we're not covering here. So I implore you to go and talk, give the comments over on there. But he did a great job of reading through some legal documentation. It's a very heavy subject. So if you would like to know a little bit more about one of the other big wrestling topics this week, please feel free to do that. I have said we will not be covering it here because I want to concentrate on the action, on the superstars that have been doing a great job. But I'm glad Anthony's here because, Anthony, I believe Royal Rumble is one of the ones of the events of the year that you actually like to watch for WWE. Am I right in saying?
Oh yeah, man.
Can we see a T-shirt, by the way, mate? Sorry to jump. I just want to see that T. Oh, look at that. Oh.
Do you know what that calls for? 3 seconds. Oh, look, and it's done.
I mean, like, make an effort. That's awful.
Is that what Dom said?
Put money on that. Yeah,
that's
how
what
bad is that?
Yeah, so you guys normally have like Big E or Darby Allin or Mick Foley, and I get a 3-second sting.
I'll sort you out. You just need to contact technical support is what you need to do.
That's Dan. He's here.
No, I love the Royal Rumble, man. I love the Royal Rumble. It's great, and you was just talking about surprises, and I feel that that's one of the things that the Rumble has been lacking in the last few years. It's one of the most exciting things about the Rumble when we get that surprise. And actually, a lot of the other stories that they're telling aren't as memorable apart from the sort of main stories. So I wish that they'd do more surprises. I love the fun of a Rumble. I think it's one of the times WWE excels at really having fun with the performers. I think back to times like where, what's his name? Heath Slater. Was it Heath Slater or Bo Dallas was knocked out by every guy that come down the ring and couldn't get into the ring because he kept getting knocked down by each person. I love moments like that. That to me is what the Rumble is all about. And AEW provides a lot of like fun wrestling. You look at characters like Orange Cassidy, and I love that in a Rumble. That's really memorable to me. And the surprises. Last year we had Booker T, but it felt like it was still missing something. And while it told a great story with Cody Rhodes and Gunther, I'd say, and certainly the most memorable part of that Rumble, as well as the sort of friction between Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Gunther, and sort of bringing that also ahead. They were the memorable points, you know. And I want more surprise, Andy.
Yeah. And we might. I think we are going to get a couple of surprises. I don't know if it will be as many as some people are expecting because it's always great to see social media explode with all the names that could happen. I've seen X-Pac's name mentioned quite a few times. It would be kind of cool to throw back because it is nice when they throw in like an older name just for the kind of like Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era pop. And X-Pac would be cool, especially as I would like a moment between him and Dom because of that kind of like go away heat of the X-Pac heat that's been said that they have, which would be cool. But let us know in the comments, is there anyone in particular that you want to see as a surprise entrant? Maybe it's a comeback, maybe it's a debut, maybe it's someone who we haven't seen in a little while who's been injured, someone like a Big E maybe getting involved and going up against Gunther. One person, I'm not going to deliberate on this too much further, but I think we're not going to see Brock Lesnar anymore, which might have been at one point. So there, we'll see what happens. There's a few, but what we're going to do is I'll throw a couple of ones on here. Of course, we can't go any kind of week or the Royal Rumble without speaking about CM Punk and his return, where we will see him officially on his first TV match back in WWE. Because he's done a couple of the live events, but this is his first time having a televised match. So he's going to be thrown straight into the Royal Rumble. Dan, we'll start with yourself. What are your thoughts on CM Punk and his chances in the Royal Rumble?
For me, he's got to win it. He's come back. I think it might have been part of contract negotiations that he gets something like this. It's the first appearance in a match that we will see. Obviously, as you just said, with CM Punk going into this sort of match, it makes sense for someone like him to win it. Cody won it last year, and I don't want to see the same person win it 2 years in a row because it doesn't seem to elevate or tell a good story the second time. But CM Punk overall, he's got the best arc because he could use that to go against Roman if he really wanted. He could use it to go against Seth.
Oh, he's back. Sorry, you froze for a second there.
I thought it was me blowing my nose then, but no, it was just Dan.
But yeah, I mean, I think CM Punk is the bookie's favourite to win it. Is my favourite to win it. Is my prediction to win it. I just think that it makes sense. I don't think he'd come back if he wasn't promised something this big to go on his list of accolades.
Sam, I know you have a lot of opinions on Cody Rhodes. You probably do, but I mean CM Punk. But I'm going to ask Anth on this one because you cover AEW for Give Me a Hull, and I'm intrigued. Obviously, we'll come back to you, Sam. You settle yourself down.
Thank you. All right. Okay,
yourself down. You drink some more Bacardi and be quiet.
I shall. I bloody shall. Don't make me say the F word on your stream, son.
Well, it's your stream as well, so I wouldn't. You cover AEW, and you obviously saw the fallout and the build up to everything that happened with CM Punk and his acrimonious departure from the company. Do you think CM Punk could be entrusted to win the Royal Rumble and go 2 months keeping his nose clean until WrestleMania? Because that must be somewhere factored in that they would be worried about it, no?
Do I think he could be entrusted? No, absolutely not. But do I think they will? Probably. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because I think there is great story. I mean, there's two stories that were being told going into the Royal Rumble. One is for CM Punk's main event WrestleMania, and one is Cody Rhodes' story. And whilst I don't think either of those are the biggest story in WWE, and I think that's what WWE is telling us the stories are. So yeah, I think it's probably going to end up Punk and Cody at the end, and then it'll depend which way they want to go. Do they want to do Cody's continuation of this story? 2 back-to-back Rumbles is a big accolade for Cody. It hasn't happened since Steve Austin, I don't believe, so it is a big deal if that happens. And it also coincides with him finishing the story at WrestleMania, which I do think they're going to swerve everyone on. I don't think they're going to do it. But
stop it, Anthony.
If you do that story, a good beat to the story is that he was able to do it twice. Last year, he did it entering at number 30. This year, Cody wins from entering number 1. That would be a good story that they can tell for all the disappointment at WrestleMania. Because the real story, when I alluded to the real story, that is Roman Reigns' title reign. That is the real story in WWE.
I swear to God, if you get it right again, we're not talking anymore. I've had enough of this. I sat next to this guy, folks, at WrestleMania, and he's there going, Cody's not winning. Cody's not winning. Yeah. And me and Dom and Dan are like, shut up, Ant. And then it goes on, and he's bloody right. And then he's like, I'm right. And then we're going home with the bus on the way back, and he's like, I bloody told you. And we're like, right, shall we make this guy sleep in a different room? Had enough. And if you're, I swear to God, if you're right for a second year in a row, I'm done. I'm done with this.
From a story perspective, Sam, from a story perspective, it makes sense.
Oh, don't say that.
Cody winning, Cody finishing his story that you're all being told is a story that you all come up with yourselves. him finishing that story is the end, right? And then what do you do?
Well, no.
Then the real story starts.
Right, we had yes, thank you, Andy. We've had this conversation, Anthony, before. You were right the first time. Doesn't mean you're going to be again. But I don't know. Like, I'm starting to think you're bloody mystic, Meg. But anyway.
I don't know
But
what story is better for Cody than that.
You can have a babyface champion. It's a thing you can do. But the problem is wrestling in AEW and WWE, the big two, have forgotten. Even New Japan have forgotten how to do that right. For 20 years.
Let me ask another question. Do you think Roman Reigns is facing The Rock?
No.
Not at WrestleMania. Do you think?
Yeah,
WrestleMania, but do you think they want to have Roman Reigns versus The Rock?
Of course they do. But
it's such a money match.
Yeah.
Then he's keeping that title till he has that match.
But it doesn't need the title, I think, is my counter to that. I think if they're going to do it, it's more about they can set that apart and have it basically, it's a domination thing of like, who is the real head of the table? It doesn't need the title because I think the title actually kind of muddies it because most people aren't going to go into that match thinking they will put a WWE title on The Rock in 2024. Like, it just wouldn't happen. And I think that would maybe be enough to kind of put people off the outcome, but the build would be great. I think your question, though, or your point earlier on, if Cody comes out number one, there's two routes that goes. They either have him overcome all the odds and have him go from 1 to 30 and win, or they have him go all the way and just fall short. And he's always the one who will just fall short. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And maybe that's the way they do go.
And that's good storytelling. Either of them are good storytelling. And I tell you the other thing, the other problem with Cody winning the title, I think once Roman's lost that title, he's going to be babyface. I think Solo Sikoa is going to cost him the title. And I think it'll be ready to have that huge babyface in Roman Reigns. So I think once you've done that, it's going to be difficult to do The Rock and Roman Reigns. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do get that perspective, but I'm not even sure. Like, let's put it this way: The Rock was sweating and out of breath doing a promo. I don't know if he could even get close to doing a full match at the moment. Not in that state. It's different.
Does it sell tickets though?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Does it matter if he only does 2 minutes if it sells all the tickets and all the eyes on WWE's product again?
Yeah,
to a degree. And the only thing I would counter with that is basically to say, like, where do you go afterwards? Because then it goes, oh, great, we got a 2-minute match. Was it really worth it? And I think these days people would not be scared to give their opinion on it. But as you say, he could do a rock bottom of people's elbow, and that is all he has to do, and then kick out, and then take one spear, I guess, and it'd be enough for some people. So go on, Dan.
I was going to say, if you look at the start of the year, we was predicting the main event matches at WrestleMania. Night 1, we was predicting CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Night 2, we was predicting Roman and Cody. We was picking other matches up along the way, but with The Rock coming back, is there a possibility, because I've seen rumours of it, where people are now booking Rock and Roman for night 2, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes for night 1?
I can see why they would do that, but again, what happens to Seth and his title reign? Because if you've spent so long trying to build that new belt up to then completely drop it out of either of the main events, I think that really damages that title. I think they've teased different stories on purpose, and I think it's very clever to kind of give us like, oh, this could happen, or this could happen, or Gunther could go against Seth. I don't know if any of them are actually happening, and they're just trying to maybe distract. And that's the Sports Illustrated thing that came out where they went, oh, actually, they're not even going to do any of them. They're going to do this, I think was a plan and massively kind of staged to draw the eyes away from what people might be it. But we
got to jump in, Andy.
Go on then, mate. I know you want to speak about CM Punk because you always do.
Oh, for God's sake. Are you joking? I'm the opposite. But anyway, yeah. Okay.
I'm the opposite, and I'm going to do 15 minutes.
I see you, Anthony Nayland. But no, I agree with you. I was going to back you up. I think it's a load of BS. I think the plan has always been Cody Roman to CM Punk because versus CM Punk versus CM Punk. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, because that's awesome booking. And Diana's just covered my beautiful face. But Diana, you're even more beautiful. But I mean, like, yeah, they're also annoyed this week because I feel like their plan got screwed over a bit. But when I saw that, I thought, oh, well, that's frightening. But nah, that's where they're going. I reckon so. Like this week was so smart because they put everybody like CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, got people talking. Gunther confronted Seth Rollins, so clever. That got people talking. These were red herrings, and it's such smart storytelling by WWE. I'm into it because those are matches I'd watch too. But anyone who flipping read that report, saw that episode of Raw, and went, "Oh, this is what they're doing," dude, you got punked out. You know that's what they were doing. Yeah, thank you. And look, and in terms of me getting annoyed at CM Punk, yeah, I have my views about him, but nobody's more into the Seth Rollins versus CM Punk angle than me. Nobody. I promise you that now. I have feelings, but I'm a journalist. I'll keep them off here. Anthony, by the way, earlier gave us a masterclass on how to do a stream and do it objectively. So bloody hell, do we have something to learn, mate? That's why I texted you before saying that, because I've been doing this sort of thing for years and years and years, and you just wrote the book or rewrote the book. So go and watch that stream, folks.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mister. I'm not a journalist, but I'm going to do an absolutely smashing job of pretending to be one.
You made us look like dicks, Sam. You made us all look like dicks. WrestleSphere, what? Anyway,
we did. We have a couple of other people who obviously have been announced to be in the Royal Rumble. There's not many, but we will kind of zip through them a little bit. We've got Gunther, who did who I thought was a very interesting choice to be the one who interrupted Seth on Monday. Dan, again, I will bow to your raw knowledge as you cover it for the channel. Gunther, were you surprised, and was it an exciting sort of roll of the dice, I guess, to throw him in there?
Yeah, because I was honestly expecting Damien Priest to come out with the briefcase and just teasing a cash-in on Monday Night Raw. I thought it would have made it a very interesting segment if Damien Priest walks out with a referee. He hands it off to the referee walks around, but doesn't end up sort of saying, "Yeah, I'm cashing in," because the crowd, I think, would have been into that. I think the crowd would have just poured so much hatred on Damien Priest. But Gunther coming out, I think it was a nice swerve, having two separate title holders having a face-off. But again, I think it could be one where it would be a great match. We know it would be a great match. Both people are absolutely great workers in the ring. And I think on the mic, you've got to give the edge to Seth. But if you put them to win a match at WrestleMania and you had both titles, I don't even know if you could do these two on a match on one night and then have them in individual matches a separate night. I wouldn't be opposed to that, just to say that you got that big match at WrestleMania.
Yep. There's nothing I can argue with there at all. But I do want to make sure we cover some of the comments because they are coming thick and fast. Rishab says he thinks Rock is entering the Rumble. Possibly, could be a big surprise entrant. Obviously, they have had him on doing promos. There's the news this week that he's joined the board of directors for TKO, the parent company WWE. So, there's every opportunity. If it was going to happen, it could happen in 2024. Who knows? Mark, LFC UK, good to have you in, Mark. Sad news about Jurgen Klopp for you. Good for everyone else in the Premier League. So I can't say I'm that upset about it. And sorry, Dan, I know you're affected by it as well. But he says, look in my eyes, what do you see? The opening match. I was trying to fit it into the tune. Doesn't really go. The opening match in the Rumble. There's no way. Surely there's no way that the men's Royal Rumble opens this year. We've spoke about that a little bit ago. I think it's closing. It's too big a story with everything going on. I think this year they go back to the Royal Rumble match closing the show. But who knows? I'm sure you've seen some reports somewhere that maybe suggests otherwise. what have we got? Yeah, Deanna says maybe coming in short is Cody's story, and I think she's referring to the Royal Rumble, not necessarily anything else that could be construed from that statement of coming up short. I don't think Roman is a good fighter, to be honest. I think WWE is more technical than brute. That's why Cody defeated Lesnar and earned his respect. He's a technical fighter.
He's got a point. He's got a really good point there, Andy.
Yeah.
The whole purpose. Sorry, mate, to jump in. I'll bugger off in 20 seconds. I promise you. The whole purpose of that feud. Because let's go back in time. I know you were on a plane at that point, mate. Me, Ant, and Dan were in the room, and we were scratching our heads as to why Brock attacked Cody. But I do feel like 6 months later they answered that question in terms of the whole purpose of that was Brock was punishing and then testing Cody for losing at Mania. I feel like they got that across a good way later. And, you know, I feel like that had a crap beginning to a good beginning. So I think Rishabh's right. And what was great about that feud is they didn't need Brock to say it or to verbalize it out loud. It was just it was something the fans could interpret themselves, but those of us with a brain, that's the way we saw it. I think Triple H saved that from Vince and turned that from a crap story into a good story. And for me, maybe I'm biased. That, you know, Dan has said I'm biased, but I think in this sense, yeah, I am biased in the sense that I wanted that to have a happy ending or a decent ending. And it did, because it was the WrestleMania Raw that me and the boys were there. I perhaps go easier on that Raw than I would have done, but only because I was there with you boys, and that's what made it so special. Stop laughing, Anthony.
You did not go light about it. You come out of that place and your face was like this. But
then I had a beer and a midnight steak, and that was good.
I just got drunk before every show. It's the best way to enjoy it, honestly.
Yeah, I know you bloody did. We went into WrestleMania night 2. Me and Dan were like, are we going to be able to get through this? That guy bought bloody 9% beer before we went in. And we had to drink it all, folks, because we couldn't bring it in. What are we going to do? Waste it? We're British. We can't do that. Sorry, Andy. I promise you 20 seconds and we'll go way over.
Yeah, I'm used to it by now. It's fine. Anthony.
Yeah, you are.
Gunther's on the screen at the moment, and we said earlier on maybe Cody goes in first. Do we get Gunther as number 30 as a nice bookend to that storyline? And the other question to ask you is: do you think the original plan might have been for Brock Lesnar and Gunther to be the pairing at WrestleMania, and maybe we saw the start of that in this Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I think all of that makes complete sense. Exactly what you said. One thing I would suggest with Gunther, though, as a story, because I think he's the character that could do it, is to not send, if you're sending Cody number 1, sending Gunther number 2, and have Gunther's story be that he always starts a Rumble first or second because he wants to prove his dominance, and always have Gunther either get to the end until he eventually wins it. I think that could be a great long-term story, and I think the start of that has potential this year. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's such a dominant figure that it feels almost like we wasted to put him as number 30. But I think there's every opportunity they could try and tell him more towards the villainous story, where he doesn't have to do much other than just coming in at number 30, because I always think a number 30 should go to a heel. It feels more of a heelish thing to have.
Definitely.
Rather than a babyface, because that's the one thing that really irked me last year. I knew Cody was kind of coming back from his surgery and stuff, but I always thought that the roles were completely reversed, which was interesting, but it's something didn't sit right with me that a heel comes in at number 1, goes over an hour, and then in comes the babyface at number 30 to kind of have a few minutes. That's subverted for me, but maybe that's
I just love the idea of having Walter Gunther as a constant, like, he's coming in first, but he might win it. He nearly won it last year. Do you know that new version of Kane that I don't feel that we have anymore? Because Kane was always a threat in the Rumble. He never actually won it, but as soon as he come in, it was like, who's going to get Kane out? You know?
Yeah.
and that sort of excitement. That's the excitement of surprise that I want to see. And for me, that's why Gunter's a great character in that, you know.
Yeah, we've got other comments that have come in as well, which was about Damian Priest. We'll have a quick chat about Damian Priest in a minute because he still does have the case. Be interesting to see if they use it in the next few weeks or not, because obviously with Seth potentially not being around, what are they going to do with that? And maybe he goes for the IC title instead. We'll see how things shake out for Priest. But Mark says we all have that feeling that Priest is losing, right? Words 789. Hello to you, my friend. CM Punk, bring back the ponytail. Mark, I'm not. This is a wrestling stream. I can't talk about Liverpool. That's not happening. Calling it now I will talk about this one, Mark, because this is a good point. Call it now. If Seth does make Mania and faces Punk, they have to do the music theme troll like they did with Roman in a previous Rumble. Possibly. I love the Royal Rumble because it throws up all these kind of dream scenarios and these callbacks and things like that. So it'd be fantastic to see. Maybe Matt Cardona comes out, but it would be like the woo. But we'll see. My good friend John has joined in. I think he might have already left as well, but we're going to nick through his comments. Literally popped in to say Rock has no place being near that main event of Mania. No disrespect to him, but dude is out of breath cutting a promo. Ticket sales are irrelevant as it's already sold out. Yes, it is, and we also did a stream about Mania selling out. So go check that out. That's back in the archives, but I think it's one that's quite popular as we head into WrestleMania season, and of course that infamous road to WrestleMania that we will be on as of Sunday morning or late Saturday night. I don't know what to call it, depending where you are watching it. You had another one. Surely Rock versus Roman goes on Netflix week 1 for an event with tickets left to sell. I think, as Anthony said, you could put the Rock versus Roman Reigns on literally anything, and it's going to sell tickets. It's going to sell subscriptions. It's going to sell pay-per-views. It could literally go on anything they want it to go on. They're probably just deciding how they can make it as big as possible and milk it, as Dan said there, as much as possible.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think Kofi wins the Intercontinental title, which is, you can see with Dan on his watch along on Monday night on Raw. That is the match that they've got scheduled in at the moment. Gunther then goes after Seth. We'll see, because I think Seth's away for a little while, doing his rehab, etc. I'm just trying to see if we've got anything else going on. John's heading off, but he's going to rewatch it tomorrow. Thanks very much for dropping in, John. I know I've been speaking to you all week and you are very excited for the Royal Rumble. So, yeah, we've got Jack, who's been in and out of the comments. Well, only 4 matches, and I can't see Roman closing without a major bloodline plot point. If he were to close, as we said earlier on, maybe that includes something to do with The Rock. But before we kind of move on to anything else, I'll throw Cody's picture up there. Dan, is he going to finish a story? You don't have to be quite as drawn out as Sam is, and you don't have to be as succinct as a yes or no. What's your opinions on Cody finishing his story?
I liked Deanna's point of Cody never finishing the story, always coming up a little bit short, especially in the Rumble after winning it last year. I still think he goes on to Elimination Chamber, wins number 1 contender to go on to beat Roman at Mania and finish the story that way. You've then got a champion that is on TV on a regular basis, fighting it, defending it, because that is the sort of champion I think Cody would be. So in terms of the Rumble, I don't think Cody will finish the story there, but going further down, I do think that is what will happen.
Yeah, we discussed it last week on the stories. I would love to see him go full Shawn Michaels and just start attacking people because he's frustrated when he gets thrown out of the Rumble. Sam, what do you reckon to that? Like, there's a couple of people here who are saying maybe Cody falls just short. Is that something you can get on board with?
I don't think they can do that again after Ant's already raising his eyebrows. But I mean, you can't keep saying I'm gonna finish the story. I'm gonna finish the story, then not do it. Like, this is WWE. You can't keep being this like all meta and one thing meaning another thing. It's if he fails again, he's a loser forever. It's that simple. In WWE, like Roman Reigns can't hold that belt forever. It's like he's not going to break Bruno's record because I don't think anybody is in this era. So Roman wants to go and have a bit of time off, and it's already getting a bit awkward. Him holding
time off. Hold on, time off.
Yeah,
what's he doing every other week of the year?
Not what you think. He doesn't get the time off until he loses the belt, mate. It's not proper time off until he loses the belt.
Yeah. And also on that point, it's come up a couple of times, for him to beat Bruno's record, I believe he has to go till deep into 2028.
Not happening. It's ridiculous. Like there'd be no such thing as a WWE fan by then, or that belt would cease all meaning. It can't be done. It's a very, very people think, oh, you should be. It's a different world. Like, yeah, we can. There's plenty of records he can beat, but that ain't one of them. I don't see how anybody beats that in the modern era. It's a completely different universe. And Ant's got his hand up, so I'll make this quick. If he doesn't do it at Mania, all right, fair enough. But they've got to have a damn good storyline in their back pocket for if he doesn't, because I can't put up with Dom not following the product for another year. That's all I'm going to say.
And did anyone think that Roman Reigns had beat Hogan's?
Shut up, Anthony.
He's beat one of them, hasn't he? I think is his the next one as well, or is that Bob?
It might be, yeah, it might be. But did anyone see that coming? I didn't.
Can we kick Ant from the chat, please?
Can we kick Ant from the chat? Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, wow. Oh, no, I'm never even here. No, stop bullying my Sam.
Well, that's, well, here we are. This is clearly not a proper "Give Me a Holy Air" stream, but because in those streams,
right,
where's Dom? Dom, come back from your stupid spa. Anyway, there you go.
But what we're going to do, because we've run through everyone, I know we've had a couple of comments about Damian Priest. It's a very confusing time for Damian Priest because he's got the Money in the Bank briefcase, but seemingly has no world title holders to go for at the moment because they're either going to be rehabbing, not around very often. Dan, I'm going to ask your opinion on this because, again, it falls under the kind of curtain of Monday Night Raw. What do they do with Damian Priest? Because it's an interesting one to have him in the Rumble as well as holding the briefcase. What's going on with Damian?
I still think he holds that briefcase until after Mania. Once you get past WrestleMania, you've got potentially 2 new champions that are going to be around more and are going to be more accessible for a cash-in. So I think you could have him cash in on Cody very quickly and take the title off of Cody, have him built up from now all the way until just before maybe Money in the Bank itself this year, and then have that title taken off him. Whether it is still part of the Judgment Day, I think it will be. And then you can have the implosion of Judgment Day because Finn Balor would be super jealous. The other idea that I was thinking of, and I don't know if it was a crazy enough idea for it to work, is you could have R-Truth with the actual contract taken out of the briefcase because we haven't seen inside the briefcase. We don't know what Damian Priest is putting in there. So Damian Priest could go to cash in on someone, briefcase accidentally falls open, there's nothing in there. R-Truth comes out and says, yeah, I've put my name on it for you, so you didn't lose it. And R-Truth gets that cash in. I know it'd be a complete goofball idea, but I think it would work with R-Truth the way he is. I think it could be such an entertaining story for an episode on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, quite possibly. And on Raw, we've got the tag team match between DIY and Judgment Day, and I wonder if Truth gets involved and either kind of proves himself, because after kind of bumbling around on last Monday, they either have him bumble around and actually help out this time, or he costs them again. and we see Damien Priest eventually just completely destroy R-Truth, because they have to give him something more than a comedy bit, because quite frankly, right now, I don't think he's in any position to be able to take that on.
It feels like Otis having the briefcase a couple of years back. It just doesn't feel like a legitimate.
Definitely starting to. The one thing, we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger just randomly turned up on the.
I know, where did that come from? I hit the wrong button. Let's try again. Oh, sexual. All right. There's the stuff.
No. We are going to wrap things up here, but before we go, there is a big announcement, and you can see it over the shoulder of Dan. That Dan is the resident Gimme a Hull Yeah predictions champion, and as you can see, Ant's eyes light up. You can see a vivid head shake from Dan. He's going to have to start defending it, because he is basically
whoa, sweet child of mine. I do believe there was a pay-per-view a couple of weeks ago, and I do believe there was one man out of the Gimme a Hull Yeah hosts who got the most predictions right. And I do believe that man wears the best hat in the business. Dan, I'm not going to come and take that off you physically, because I'm in Preston, you're in Hull. But I do believe that's my belt you got there.
That wasn't a full predictions video from everyone. It wasn't a fully everyone was involved.
Yeah, it was, because some people voluntarily backed out. So
Dan, who's got the belt?
I mean,
you've got the physical copy, but who's got the belt, baby? Who's got the belt?
Of the law.
It's me. It's my belt. We just haven't brought it round yet. I don't mind defending it.
No. And you're right, mate. You to be fair, Dan, mate, you're a two-time pretender, if I'm being perfectly honest. Ant won it off you, and then I won it off him. So, gentlemen, listen, I ain't insecure. I'm not gonna drive to Hull. It's 3 hours away. Shut up. That's like 40 quid in fuel. All I'm gonna suggest, Dan, is you treat that right, mate. You hold it, you clean it, but give me a Hull. This isn't Rishad, this isn't a heel turn. These are just facts, bro. Dan, that's my belt. All I'm going to say, mate, is all you got to do is look after it for the real champ. That's all you got to do.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on, Nick. Let me have some respect for the current champion. He's holding that belt right now. Let him announce what he's got to announce, and then maybe we'll get to the fact that you could one day hold that belt physically. And also, I'm sure Dan's put together something that he'd like to announce here. So, champ, take it away.
Yes. Listen to the host. Champ. So we haven't done it in a while. We are going back to doing our predictions. If you go over to our Twitter page, there is a link where you can join in and have a go at predictions yourself. You can answer all the questions on the list. We're going to have the winner of the Rumble, the number one entrant, the number 30 spots in the match, how the match between Roman, LA Knight, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles will end, who will get the fastest elimination over both Rumble matches. So it's whoever is the person that eliminates someone the fastest, and who will be the Iron Man or Iron Woman. And that is the total longest individual participant in the matches. So if you get your answers in, we might be able to send you out a little treat if you get the most right. And if the host gets the most right, they get the belt. Well, I say they get it, they will be retaining the belt.
Whoa. You mean they
need to put like a sticker of the face of whoever has the championship, by the way, Dan, if it's staying at yours.
Look, right now, by our rules, set up by you, Anthony Nayland and Dominic Smith, a great surname, by the way. Right now, if there's the Gimme a Hull Yeah Championship by numbers, not possession, because I live in goddamn Preston, 3 hours away from you buggers, is
That's
me.
Your fault.
Don't blame me. If we're doing numbers, you made a host who lives a couple of cities away, and then you brought Andy into the fold, who's even more cities away in an opposite direction. Hello, Mark, who's texting me, but or twittering me. But right now, in terms of the numbers, Dan, I'm sorry, mate. Ant won it off you. I won it off Ant. The only reason you're still holding that bloody thing is no one gave a shit for a few weeks, months. So right now, the Gimme a Hull Yeah champion is open to you taking it off him over the Royal Rumble. And you know what? I won't dispute it, mate. I won't dispute. If someone wins that, including you, Andy, I won't dispute it because I'm a real champion. I don't need that bauble that Dan has become. You won it a million years ago. And
I just don't like my name being thrown as a side thought. Like I am.
You ain't a side thought, bro. You are. Oh, Jack shot fired. Andy, highlight that comment because I can't. Yeah, it ain't my show. But there you go. Oh, he's done it again, Andy. If you wouldn't mind. There it is. Right.
Well,
cool.
the champ's being called out. It seems like the tides have turned. Like you were Roman Reigns' peripheral champion, who is only defends it when he wants to, but he has put it on the line. I want to say he is willing to put it on the line right now. So, if you want to follow along and you want to join in the predictions, as Dan said, you can go check it out on Twitter. So go make sure that you are following along on Twitter for Gimme a Hull Yeah. For Wrestling Royalty as well. And while you're there, you might as well subscribe to and follow WrestleSphere as well. But we are going to have in... What, sorry?
Who are they? Would you please tell us who they are?
WrestleSphere, one of the best up-and-coming wrestling news outlets who does fantastic features, interviews, reviews. You can go check that all out on WrestleSphere.com. But of course, while you're here right now, whether you're watching on Wrestling Royalty, whether you're watching on Gimme a Hull Yeah, click that subscribe button, click that like button, and make sure, well, don't press the down button, Ant. You've got to press the up button. You want to make
Look
sure
at
you get
Anthony's
those
tattoos, by the way. Aren't they sexual? Look at his arm. Look at that. Oh, yeah.
Well, I got a new one as well, but I can't.
Oh, I know you did. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
look at that.
I'll get the angle of it. It's Ray from Princess and the Frog.
Oh,
look at that.
See some of the shit I'm going to get.
Amazing.
That's amazing, isn't it?
And you can see more of Anthony's tattoos every Wednesday on Gimme a Hull Yeah, where he covers AEW streams. And if you want to see the beautiful face and snacks that Dan likes to bring on a Monday night, you can see him watch along. Look at that. Chocolate selection, Kinder Bueno, hippos, etc. You can do that. Or you can follow in about, what we had time, 20 past 11 at 1 a.m. You can be on Gimme a Hull Yeah and watch the SmackDown stream with Sam, which is the go-home show for Royal Rumble, which, of course, we've been talking about tonight. We've got 3 of the guys from Gimme a Hull Yeah on. We're just missing Dom for the full house. Please go.
The best host of WrestleSphere.
Shut up, Dan.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of personal. I don't like that.
We don't have hosts at WrestleSphere. We're journalists.
Well, we do on Monday night, by the way. We do have a stream on Monday. But anyway, before this kind of all just breaks down and goes to hell, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us. As I said, we will be posting the link for the predictions over on Twitter. I'll make sure I change the description as well. I don't know what Sam's doing, but there's only one way we can kind of take this out here. I've been Andy. Oh, God, it's everywhere. He's Dan. He's Sam. This has been Wrestling Royalty and Gimme a Hull Yeah.